Part 47. Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 465. It is impossible to add more updates. I just finished the update and I admit that I am exhausted. Today is the Mid-Autumn Festival, my little cuties, happy Mid-Autumn Festival. So, let's write a short bonus episode. Serious title, The Little Fairy is Here to Save the World. Text. Orphanage. God bless. Someone finally adopted this little witch, the middle-aged director of the orphanage, who was facing the crisis of baldness, cried with joy. He quickly hung up the phone and ran out of the office. In the backyard, a group of children of different heights lay stretched out on the grass, sleeping soundly. On the swing in front of them, sat a delicate girl wearing a fluffy lace skirt. The girl's face was plump, with 2 touches of peach-like pink. She was swinging on the swing and humming an intermittent ditty, "Good friends, hold hands, sit in rows, and eat fruit. 1 for you, 2 for me. I'm almost finished, you want to share half." The bald dean appeared in the backyard. Looking at the sleeping little carrot heads, he had a headache and was puzzled. "Why are you sleeping on the ground again?" As for the little girl, the moment the bald dean appeared, she stopped singing. She jumped off the swing and wandered among a bunch of radish heads, picking up scattered fruits and candies on the grass. She was like a little hamster hoarding goods, muttering in her mouth, "1 for you, 2 for me, don't agree, right, wow, it's all mine." "Xiao, come here." The bald man came to see the girl. When he saw the girl, he waved his hand, "Uncle has good news to tell you." The girl blinked her big watery eyes and walked over doubtfully. She thought to herself, "Does the stingy dean uncle want to give the little fairy extra food tonight?" "Xiao, new parents will come to adopt you this afternoon," the bald dean said in a good voice. "Really?" The girl was dubious. "Of course. There will be no problem this time," the bald dean vowed. Until the afternoon, the girl was taken away by a couple. The couple dressed in low-key and luxurious clothes and drove the latest brand of high-end cars. The girl left with her new parents. On the way, the girl sat in the back, holding a doll given by her new parents in her arms. The parents in front were talking quietly. "Such a cute little girl, we really just give her a pair of corneas to Zhen Zhen. The big deal is that we will take care of her and eat and drink her for the rest of her life." The girl turned her head in boredom and looked out the window. She saw a large truck driving towards this direction. The speed did not slow down, but it was getting faster and closer. "Careful. AHH. Bang." 2 days later. Orphanage. "Hello, Dean. 2 days ago, a couple adopted a 5-year-old girl from your place. However, they encountered a car accident and died on the spot. Fortunately, the little girl was not injured, so according to the procedure, the little girl continued to live here and wait for a new adopter." The bald dean sent the police away with a stiff smile, then turned his head with a collapsed expression and looked at the little girl sitting on the chair with her legs dangling. "Hi Uncle Dean, I'm back again, are you happy?" The girl waved her little paw. This is her 4th failed adoption. The bald dean waved his hands in frustration. "Go and play." "Okay." The girl ran out of the office with excitement on her face. "Guys, I'm back." When the children in the backyard saw the girl coming back, they all ran away excited. At night, the backyard was decorated with lights and colorful decorations, and there were many long tables with exquisite food placed on them. Today is the Mid-Autumn Festival. The stingy dean has recently completed several orders and is finally willing to spend money. Looking at the round moon, almost all children's wish is to have a complete family at this moment. Xiao is a disaster. Every time she is adopted, something unexpected happens. It must be. She was sent back today. The girl who was swinging on the swing took a sip and ate the mooncake in her hand. From time to time, The girl could hear those chirping sounds, but she didn't show any concern on her face. She looked up at the round moon and hummed a little tune that only she could hear. The moon is round, and the moon cakes are sweet and sweet. I am a little fairy who came to Earth 5 years ago. Stupid mortals, you don't understand. The little fairy is here to save the world. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 466. After dinner, Suting watched her mother-in-law pick up a jar of realgar wine and spray it on every door in the house. Sutingyu filled the hot water, took a bath in the bathtub in the house, and then jumped onto the wooden bed barefoot. Living in the village chief's house, Sutingyu was relatively lucky to be able to sleep on a wooden bed, which was the bed of many other people's homes. It's all just made of bricks. As soon as Sutingyu lay down, the wooden door of the house was pushed open from the outside. The chief eldest sister walked in and said to the former, "Little sister, go to bed early tonight and don't go out if you have nothing to do." "Okay, eldest sister." Sutingyu turned over and sat up, responding softly. After the cheap lady finished speaking, she turned around and went out, closing the wooden door of the house for Sutingyu. After the people left, Sutingyu jumped down to the ground and locked the door. Sleep. Of course, it is impossible to go to bed so early. It is estimated that the time is less than 10 o'clock now. Sutingyu, who had nothing to do, started walking around the house, looking here and browsing there. In addition to the basic furnishings, there are several jars of unopened realgar wine in the room. Sutingyu took out the storage ring from the inventory, put a jar of realgar wine in it, then used the necklace with the conch to hang the ring around his neck, and finally hid it in his clothes. This is not stealing, this is just taking something that belongs to you. Sutingyu rolled around on the bed to pass the time. Finally, it's midnight. Panel pops up. Dear Dragon Boat Festival players, please note that the exploration mission of this round of dungeons officially begins on the first day of May. First round of exploration time, midnight -1 o'clock. First round of exploration players, 1-400 numbers. The monster killing list is opened. You can get corresponding points by killing monsters. The higher the level of the monster, the more points you get. The top 100 players with points will be displayed in real time after the copy is over. The players on the list will get additional rewards. The higher the ranking, the more generous the reward. Points system for killing evil spirits. Gray Spirit Evil, 5 points. White Chi Demon, 10 points. Ching Chi Yaoxi, 20 points. Red Chi Demon, 50 points. Huh? Is there a number? Where is the number? Sutingyu looked left and right, and at this moment, the panel refreshed again, and a number appeared, 4444. Hey, the number is out, Sutingyu thought deeply. Why does this number look familiar? Is this round of dungeons really thrilling? The content behind this exploration mission clearly tells the players. That's right, there are ghosts. Are you afraid? Players who change exploration every hour just don't know how long they will explore tonight. 5 o'clock. Or 6 o'clock. If it's 6 o'clock, then 9,600 players can only go out for 1 hour these 4 nights. Sutingyu's number was in the middle, so it was unlikely that it would be her turn to explore tonight. She was still thinking about the legacy left by the 4 players who were burned to death as monsters during the day. Alas, what a pity. Maybe it will be picked up by other players tonight. Well, the main story rules say that other players are not allowed to go out, so, sleep. Sutingyu really couldn't think of a better choice than sleeping. In addition, the cheap lady just came over and made a comment, which made Sutingyu not want to go out. Well, the cheap lady just said she couldn't go out tonight. Then if she waits until tomorrow night or the night after to go out, it doesn't count as breaking her promise, right? It definitely doesn't count. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 467. Ha ha ha. Sure enough. There is something wrong with this copy. It's not in vain that I checked so much information and prepared so many ghost-killing props. A family in a village somewhere. In a certain thatched cottage, a male player laughed triumphantly, with a shrewd look in his eyes. The male player first took out several items that could resist or attack evil spirits. After being fully armed, he pushed open the door and walked out. Ha. The night wind blew gently, blowing the branches and leaves of the nearby trees, making a rustling sound. The dungeon identity of the male player lost his father at a young age and only has a mother who was widowed at a young age. During the day, the male player came into contact with a village woman who was not threatening. The male player walked straight towards the wooden door of the yard. Just as he was about to reach out and push the door open, he felt a chill coming from his back. Whoosh! A flash of bloody sword light flashed. The male player looked down at his chest blankly, where the tip of a knife was exposed. Warm breath sprayed on the back of the male player's neck, and a faint female voice came out, "Son, where are you going?" It was a very common question, but the male player's remaining consciousness made a shocking discovery. This sound is you, my son. The woman behind her cried miserably, "Why are you possessed by something dirty? Don't be afraid, I'm here right now, to help you get rid of it." As soon as she finished speaking, the woman pushed the woodcutter in her hand a little further. Puff! The male player's eyes widened and a mouthful of blood spurted out. He never thought. Oh. Early in the morning, Sutinyu was awakened by the big rooster in the yard. Then, the panel popped up. The May 1 ST exploration mission has ended. Evil killing list. First place, I will scum you in the next life, 200 points. Second place, Guoshi Wushuan, 180 points. Third place, Ha, 180 points. Fourth place, Demon Hunter, 140 points. Fifth place, Happy Mid-Autumn Festival, 120 points. Huh? Guju is on the list? He was able to go out last night. When Sutinyu got up to check the list, he found someone he knew. Demon Hunter? Li Ji? Is this guy also here to participate in the event dungeon? This guy seems to want to kill himself? Whether in reality or in the game. Tisk tisk. Cheapskate. Sutinyu jumped out of bed and left the room. My mother-in-law has already gotten up early to make breakfast, and my eldest sister is also helping. Mom, eldest sister, I'm going out to play. Sutinyu rolled her eyes and shouted in the direction of the kitchen. After a few seconds, the cheap mother's voice sounded, I know, don't play too late, come back for dinner later. Okay. Sutinyu responded and then went out. But this time when I went out, the peaceful atmosphere in the village disappeared a lot. Passing by some houses, a faint black air gathered in the sky above them, lingering. My son. Oh, Dad, you died so miserably. Daughter-in-law, why did you leave just now? This is... Someone died. Sutinyu's eyes darkened slightly. It seems like there are no dead people in your house, right? As time passed, more and more villagers gathered at the entrances of the houses where the dead people lived. Sutinyu took the opportunity to go in and take a look. Then her eyes paused. There are some items scattered next to these corpses, and the villagers and NPCs around them seem to be blind and can't see them at all. Sutinyu inadvertently stepped on something with her right foot, and the panel popped out. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 468. Sutinyu took a look. It is a game prop, and its function is probably a defensive exorcism prop. 100% usage, never used. Didn't the players in this room die at the hands of evil spirits? So the prop doesn't take effect? No points dropped? The cause of death of this player. Last night, my son was suddenly possessed by an evil spirit, sneaking around at the door. I could only. A strong farmer said sadly. Condolences. Shigan, please show your condolences. The villagers around him comforted him. When Sutingyu heard this, he felt an inexplicable chill in his heart. Was this player killed by his nominal family member in the dungeon? Sutingyu took a closer look at the wound. The player was beheaded to death with a knife. There were no signs of struggle on his face. It was likely that he was killed when he was unprepared. On the corpse, except for the normal post-mortem stiffness, the body did not show any demonic phenomena. Is this player really possessed by an evil spirit, or will the player be considered possessed by an evil spirit once he goes out at night? So he was ruthlessly killed by the villagers? Sutingyu is more inclined to the second possibility. The exploration time last night was from midnight to 6 o'clock, 6 hours. Then at midnight tonight, it will be her turn, and it will be the exploration time from 5 to 6 o'clock. If you don't come out, will your family members find you and kill you? At 6 o'clock, when the rooster crows and the sun rises, your mother and eldest sister will get up and make breakfast, right? When she goes home at that time, it will be really difficult not to be discovered, right? I wonder if I will be discovered if I use a hat to hide myself? Using a disguise potion as a safety point, even if you are discovered, your identity will not be exposed. It's just that Sutingyu doesn't know how to refine the disguise potion yet, so she can only use the inventory left by her master. Sutingyu finished looking at one house and then went to the next one. Without exception, it's the same situation. The players are all dead. The cause of death was all killed by their own family members. So it seems that the first difficulty of going out at night is not the threat of evil spirits outside, but the dungeon arranged for each player's family. Sutingyu came to such a conclusion. Good guy. No wonder this round of dungeons also produced NPC family members. So this is the trap. Moreover, it is stated at the beginning of the dungeon that you cannot actively attack tribesmen NPCs. Sutingyu walked around for a while and then went home. There is no way, my cheap mother wants her to come back early. For now, it's better to listen to the cheap mother's words. When Sutingyu returned, the little kid also woke up. When he saw Sutingyu looking like he just came back, he hummed, "Second sister, you go out to play without me." Sutingyu patted the kid on the head. "Who told you to stay in bed and get up so late?" "Little sister, what happened in the village this morning?" Sister Xianyuan came over with a plate of dishes and asked softly. Sutingyu rolled his eyes and chose to answer truthfully. "Hey, so many people were killed by evil spirits overnight." Sister Xianyuan sighed lowly, seeming to be sad. But this reaction, Sutingyu thought it was a bit too bland. "Fortunately, we don't have this situation in our family, don't you think so?" "Little sister," Sister Xianyuan asked suddenly, with a slight arc at the corner of her mouth. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Kei. Chapter 469. Sutingyu blinked her big eyes with an innocent look on her face. "Sister, why are you saying such unlucky words? Aren't our families all good?" Immediately afterwards, Sutingyu said earnestly, "Sister, you can't be too pessimistic in life, be more positive, right? The dragon ancestor is above, and he will definitely keep our family safe, harmonious, and beautiful." Sister Xianyuan's face was dull for a moment, as if she didn't expect Sutingyu to say such words. Seeing the way Sutingyu looked at her, becoming more and more puzzled, the eldest sister Xianyang coughed dryly. "Yes, little sister, you are right. What are you two sisters talking about? You haven't eaten yet." At this time, the mother and father came back to the house together. "Yes, yes, eat, eat." Sutinyu bared his teeth and smiled at the cheap eldest sister. In this way, the family finished their breakfast happily. After breakfast, Sutinyu was arranged to feed the chickens, ducks, and pigs at home. She fiddled with a pile of feed to feed them. If there were eggs in the chicken shed, she had to pick them up. After feeding the small animals at home, Sutinyu will go up the mountain to collect firewood, pick wild vegetables, etc. It just so happened that Sutinyu planned to take this opportunity to visit other villages. Sutinyu spent a whole day in this village yesterday and did not meet Qin or the others. He could only go to other villages to take a look. If he met Guqi, he could also ask him about last night's situation. But the embarrassing thing is, Sutinyu doesn't know his way around. So, Sutinyu set her sights on the little kid. "Brother, do you want to go out and play?" As soon as he heard that he wanted to play, the little kid's eyes lit up several times on the spot. Okay, where are we going to play?" "I went to visit another village. When I came back yesterday, I heard that there was a village nearby, there were people selling goods there." Sutinyu wanted to talk about merchants selling snacks, but she didn't know what this type of people were called in the world in this instance, so she was vague. The little kid quickly guessed, "It's the salesman." Yes. Sutinyu nodded repeatedly. "Then let's go." "The nearby village, is it Kinkaiu village?" Yes, it seems to be this village." As a result, the siblings hit it off immediately and walked out of the house. Along the way, Sutinyu deliberately walked a few steps slowly, letting the excited little kid lead the way the whole time. After walking for about 10 minutes, Sutinyu saw some houses and people. "Second sister, do you have any money?" As he approached the village entrance, the little boy remembered the most important thing. Yes." Sutinyu rolled his eyes and pretended to take out his sleeves, but actually took out a silver stone-like object from the inventory. "Hey, I picked it up from the mountain yesterday." The little kid exclaimed, "Silver?" Sutinyu quickly took it back. "Hush, let's split up and go find the salesman. We'll meet at the entrance of the village in half an hour." "Okay," the little kid agreed readily. After the little brat left, Sutinyu chose the opposite direction and walked into Kinkaiu village. Fortunately, among the potion ingredients exchanged in the mall, there is something that looks like broken silver. Should I also prepare some gold and silver? Otherwise, if I have a ring, the effect will not be maximized. While walking, Sutinyu thought about it in his heart. In this village, Sutinyu also saw white cloths hanging in front of many houses, indicating that people had died recently. "Boss." Sutinyu suddenly heard a familiar and excited voice. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Being a Bug in a Survival Game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 470. Sutinyu looked around and saw the fat man's figure. "Boss." The fat man ran towards Sutinyu with excitement on his face. As soon as the fat man approached, Sutinyu immediately winked, "Go to a place where no one is around first." The fat man was stunned for half a second and nodded repeatedly, "Boss, come with me." "Good morning, young Master Feng." "Young Master Feng, are you getting up so early today?" Along the way, Sutinyu was surprised to find that many villagers greeted Fatty with bright smiles and even called him young Master Feng. Sutinyu couldn't help but ask curiously, "Fat man, what is your status here?" The fat man chuckled, "It's nothing, he's just a young master from the River Master's family. My parents are already in trouble, and I'm left with an 80-year-old grandmother, a large family property and a lot of money servant." Sutinyu. Suddenly, I felt that the fact that my father was the village chief was a bit unpalatable. We are all human beings, so why does the fat man have better luck than her? The fat man did not take Sutinyu back to his home because there were many people at home, but instead took them to his unoccupied ancestral house. "Boss, are you from the village? Or did you come from another village?" the fat man asked. "I came from Kinyu village." Sutinyu looked at Fatty's ancient costume. "Fatty, is this a panel costume? Do you have 50,000 game coins?" "No." The fat man shook his head and explained, "When I first came here, I happened to be in the bathhouse, and there were ancient clothes in it. I thought that the background of the copy was ancient, so I changed into this outfit. Fortunately, I was cautious, otherwise I would have been burned as a monster on the first day." The fat man remembered a scene he saw yesterday and patted his belly with lingering fear. Sutinyu blinked his big eyes. "Do you have any unlucky people here too? I saw them yesterday too. By the way, boss, many players suddenly died this morning. Do you know what happened?" "Oh, you ask this?" Sutinyu told Fatty his speculation, and the latter was immediately dumbfounded. "Isn't it? Then I have a bunch of slaves at home, and there are also slaves keeping vigil outside the door." The fat man wanted to cry. He felt very safe last night. Sutinyu looked sympathetic. "Fat man, my condolences." "Fatty, boss, you are using this word incorrectly. You are using it on my family, and I am the only one in my family." "Oh, then just ask for your blessings." Sutinyu changed his words nonchalantly. After scaring Fatty for a while, Sutinyu made a very serious suggestion. "Fatty, do you have any invisibility or hiding game props? There seems to be something similar. One is to reduce the sense of presence, and the other is to shrink the body. What's your number?" Sutinyu frowned slightly, still feeling a little unsafe. 55. Sutinyu's eyes brightened slightly. It just so happened that Fatty went out at midnight on the third day of the dungeon, which did not conflict with his own outing time. "Fat man, it will still be the same time tomorrow. I will come here to find you again and lend you a game prop that can make you invisible for a short time." The fat man was immediately overjoyed. "Can you become invisible? How long will it last?" 1 hour. "Wow, wouldn't it mean that you can be invisible even when you're out?" Sutinyu poured cold water on it. "Don't forget that you have to wait until the end of an hour before you can go home. The cooling time of the hat is 5 hours, and the aging time is 1 hour. You can't spend it all, you have to leave some time to go home." Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 471. When Sutinyu originally chose to keep this hat prop, what he valued most was that as long as the hat's time limit was not used up, it could be saved and used again. Of course, the cooling time will not start until the aging period is completely used up. Otherwise, this hat may not only be of rare grade. "Ah, that's right, I forgot." The fat man scratched his head with a regretful expression. "How about this?" Sutinyu suddenly had an idea. "Fat man, you can make up any excuse. For example, you dreamed of your dead parents, and you want to go back to your ancestral house to stay for one night. There will be no one here, and it will be convenient for you to go out at night." The fat man opened his mouth slightly. This seems okay. However, you have to be prepared and sprinkle some realgar wine or something like that in the ancestral house to ward off evil spirits. Don't be able to avoid the eyes and ears of the villagers, only to be eaten alive by the evil spirits," Sutinyu reminded. Okay, I'll start preparing today," the fat man chuckled. "As for the reason, it's easy to make up. Just say that it's almost the Dragon Boat Festival, so let's tidy up the ancestral house and so on." "Boss, thank you." Sutinyu waved his hand. "By the way, have you met Chin-Chi and the others?" The fat man shook his head. "No." "Then, I hope they are all in the same tribe, so that they can participate in the next dragon boat competition together, Sutingyu muttered. After chatting for a while, it was time for Sutingyu to leave. Although it doesn't look dangerous during the day, you still have to be careful. By the way, Fatty, do you have the currency of this round of dungeons with you? Give me some. Sutingyu did not forget that he had just deceived the little kid. Yes, yes. The fat man took out his money bag and handed it all to Sutingyu. Sutingyu took 2 pieces of broken silver and a bunch of copper coins, and returned the rest to the fat man. Fat man, are there any sellers in your village? Sutingyu asked again, and informed the fat man of the little brat's situation. I haven't seen the salesman before, but do kids want snacks? I have a lot of them at home. I'll get some for you. Just as he said, the fat man went back home and grabbed a handful of snacks. The fat man thoughtfully took a paper bag and put the snacks in it. Then he returned to his ancestral home without stopping and handed all the snacks to Sutingyu. Then it's time for me to go. See you tomorrow. Sutingyu took the paper bag. Fatty, okay boss, see you tomorrow. The snacks were taken care of easily. Tomorrow, Sutingyu would have a reason to continue fooling his little brat and come to Kinkai village again, and he could also ask the latter to help cover up. Sutingyu estimated that it was almost time and returned to the entrance of the village. After waiting for a while, I saw a little kid with a disappointed look on his face. Little brother. Sutingyu raised her right hand holding the paper bag. The originally dejected little kid saw something in Sutingyu's hand, and hope arose on his face. Second sister. Is it a snack? Is it? Sutingyu handed it to the kid. Yes, I saw the salesman and bought you some snacks. Thank you, second sister. The little kid couldn't wait to open the paper bag, took out a Maltose, peeled off the sugar coating, and held it in his mouth. Okay, let's go home. Okay. Second sister. The little kid responded in a vague voice. Little brother, don't tell your parents and eldest sister about going out to buy snacks, otherwise they will take back the second sister's money. You will have no snacks to eat tomorrow. Yeah. Don't tell me. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 472. When he returned to the village, before dinner time, Sutingyu took the kid out for a walk as usual, collecting information along the way. The bodies of the players who died last night have been sealed in coffins. They were not buried or cremated, but were sunk in the river. This is a local custom. After a person dies, his body sinks into the river. It is said that the body can be noticed by the dragon ancestor, and then he can follow the dragon ancestor as a spirit and practice, and he may eventually become an immortal. It sounds ridiculous. However, in the worldview of this copy, there are evil spirits, and there may also be immortals. Night. After eating, Sutingyu wanted to go back to the house, but was stopped by the cheap mother. Wait a minute, Xiao, take this sachet, remember, you must not leave it. Mom, this is. Sutingyu took the sachet in her hand and shook it curiously. It seems that in the Dragon Boat Festival custom, children have to wear a kind of sachet these days. Could it be this? This can ward off evil spirits. Take it with you, and when the Dragon Boat Festival is over, throw the sachet into the river, the cheap mother-in-law warned. Okay, thank you, mother. After returning to the house to sleep, Sutingyu took out the sachet and smelled it. It smells a bit. Wait a minute. Do you want to wear the sachet tonight? Mainline Rule 4, please listen to some advice from the tribal residents NPC. Sutingyu remembered the 4th article in the mainline rule and rolled on the bed. Some advice, that is to say, isn't that all? Sutingyu blinked his big eyes. Full marks for understanding. Sutingyu threw the sachet on the bedside and went to take a shower. While taking a shower, Sutingyu suddenly thought of something. He lowered his head and smelled the hand that had taken the sachet. Wow, it was actually tainted with the scent of the sachet. After taking a bath, Sutingyu wiped his hands with soap and water to remove the remaining smell from the sachet. At 0 o'clock, the panel popped up as promised. Dear Dragon Boat Festival Ankang players, please note that the exploration mission of this round of dungeons officially begins on the 2nd day of May. The 7th round of exploration time, midnight -1 o'clock. 7th round of exploration players, 2401-2800 numbers. Sutingyu looked at the panel and sat on the edge of the bed holding her knees. She herself has to wait until 5 o'clock. Or take a nap. Sutingyu remembered that there seemed to be an alarm clock inside the ring. Sutingyu rummaged around twice and found the alarm clock. The battery was still working, but the time on it was wrong. Sutingyu adjusted the time, and then when it was set to 4:30, the alarm clock rang. Sleep, sleep. The sachet was thrown on the pillow, and Sutingyu just wrapped herself in the quilt, curled up into a ball, and began to sleep soundly. In a certain village. How do we get out? I remember there seemed to be a prop, I found it. In a room, a female player, wearing a large piece of grey cloth on her head, secretly opened the door and went out. This piece of grey cloth is a prop that only works at night or in very dark places. The user will randomly disguise it as an inconspicuous object such as a stone, thereby reducing the sense of presence. We're almost at the door, we're still a little short of it. The female player held a sachet in her right hand. This was given to her by the NPC because it can ward off evil spirits and the smell is quite fragrant. Smelling it from time to time can relax her tense mind. Therefore, the female player is ready to go out with a sachet. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuanke. Chapter 473. Daughter, it's so late, where are you going? Suddenly, a cold-toned questioning voice sounded from behind. The female player turned her head suddenly. In front of a certain house whose door was originally closed, a slightly hunched figure appeared next to the threshold. The female player instantly froze in place, not daring to move. She kept thinking silently in her heart, those who cannot see me, those who cannot see me, those who cannot see me. Gradually, the female player regained her confidence. I am just a stone now, and it is impossible for the NPC to see me. Thinking like this, the female player quickly moved her position, but no matter where she moved, the figure's eyes seemed to be firmly locked on her. Hey, old man, my daughter came out disobedient. It seems that the sachet is no longer useful. At this time, another voice sounded, with a bit of sadness and pity, and there was an additional figure next to the threshold. Etc. Sachet. The female player subconsciously sniffed the sachet in her hand. It's a little fragrant. Not good. My disguise. The female player suddenly realized something shocking, and the next moment, she froze in place again. The two figures beside the threshold have disappeared. To her left and right, stood a figure. Strange breaths were spraying in her ears, her eardrums were trembling. Dear Dragon Boat Festival Ankang players, please note that the exploration mission of this round of dungeons is officially started on the 3rd day of May. 12th round of exploration time, 5 o'clock - 6 o'clock. 12th round of exploration players, 4401-4800 numbers. Sutingyu patted his face and regained consciousness. After jumping off the bed, Sutingyu put on her shoes, took out a bottle of disguise potion from the ring and drank it. Well, become a man, Sutingyu casually made an ordinary man's face and changed his clothes into modern clothes. As for the voice, forget it, the voice won't change. It's just that, the style is for women. Sutingyu now wears men's and women's clothes, which looks a bit awkward no matter how you look at it. I need to prepare some men's clothes and write them down in a notebook, so Tingyu took out a hat prop and put it on her head. After being fully armed, so Tingyu did not choose to go towards the door, but jumped out of the window. When I opened the window, the yard outside was already pitch dark, with no light at all. So Tingyu jumped down lightly, followed the direction in his memory, and walked in the dark to a corner. So Tingyu turned around and looked around, especially at the other houses where cheap family members lived. Well, no movement, safe. So Tingyu successfully climbed out of the wall. The moment So Tingyu climbed over the wall and went out, the originally dark house suddenly lit up with a candle light. Gauging. The sound of the wooden door being pushed open sounded, and the sound of footsteps walking in the yard disappeared for a few seconds in front of So Tingyu's room. The black shadow keeps stretching its neck. Under the dim moonlight, a 2-meter-long thick line was drawn on the ground, and the tip was a little spherical, more like a human head. The head still wanted to squeeze into the door, but as soon as it touched the wine stain on the door frame, there was a hissing sound, and the head suddenly retracted. Haiying sniffed at the door reluctantly. When he smelled the faint aroma wafting out of it, the atmosphere around him gradually became calmer. Slowly, the footsteps in the yard disappeared, and the candles in the house were extinguished. Being a bug in a survival game. Author, Kuan-Kei. Chapter 474. You kill a gray spirit demon and get 5 points. You kill a white spirit demon and get 10 points. You kill a gray spirit demon and get 5 points. You kill a gray spirit demon and get 5 points. Ding dang dang. So Tingyu glanced at the points that were constantly coming in. At this moment, another evil spirit rushed over. With a swipe of the death blade in her hand, she killed a gray evil spirit without eyes. The so-called evil spirit looks like a disembodied humanoid ghost with its feet off the ground and floating in mid-air. As for the grade of the evil spirits, it is easy to identify them. Just pay attention to the color of the flames on their heads that looks like the flame of life. If the arrogance above the head dies, the demon will truly die. This was the conclusion that So Tingyu came to after he found out that some white chi monsters were pretending to die several times. The demons with gray energy move slowly and have dull faces. As long as they are living creatures that appear within their field of vision, they will pounce on them regardless. Their attack methods are single, mostly biting with their mouths and grabbing with their hands, and they will not defend themselves. White chi demons behave like ordinary people, their facial expressions are extremely ferocious, they are not so stupid, and they have a certain IQ. Compared with humans, their advantage is that they are not afraid of pain, and they will pounce on living things when they see them. These two kinds of evil spirits were the ones So Tingyu had seen so far. Basically, they couldn't withstand a blow from the death blade, so they were easy to deal with. However, although they are easy to deal with, So Tingyu has not seen many of them so far, and the points are earned only after a period of time. Since the panel system provides higher level demons, then theoretically, this round of dungeons should be more than just these small fish and shrimps, So Tingyu muttered. She really wanted to take a look at higher level demons. What kind of strength can it give her a sense of crisis? Otherwise, with such ease, So Tingyu had reason to suspect that he had entered a fake 7-star dungeon. Oh my god. A male player rolled and crawled on the ground and ran away wildly, feeling terrified. The male player wanted to cry a little. I originally thought it was a slightly stronger white spirit demon, but in the end, most of his props were destroyed, and he still couldn't subdue it, let alone kill it. What kind of ghost copy is this? I just don't want players to pass the level. The male player didn't dare to think about the cyan demons, red demons, just the willpower white demons made him exhausted. At this time, a bead hanging around the male player's neck became hot, and his heart suddenly felt cold. This is a danger predicting game prop, mainly used to predict evil spirits and other unnatural species, because the speed has helped male players avoid danger many times before. The male player was horrified. This, what is coming? Is this hot, hotter than the Bai Chi demon? Where on earth, where will it appear from? The male player shrank his head, suspicious. Ugh, a melodious and sad singing voice attracted the male player's attention. His face darkened and he didn't even have to look back. Then the evil spirits with white energy are catching up. Ah! Someone is coming. Help, help. Hey, a gray-white afterimage appeared in an instant, with a ferocious expression on the gray face. Mad. You forced me to do this.